Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil Amuti, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy! Happy Wednesday, great girlfriends. I hope you're having a beautiful summer wherever you are. I have been getting my whole life right here in LA and doing a little bit of dabbling in and out of the city, visiting with friends around the country and trying to keep up with these kids. God bless. Speaking of kids and being a mom, today we are talking to and about single moms. And I have two experts here who I already had a pre-recording with. And I kind of feel like we should have done a behind the scenes on the pre-recording because we got into a few things and I already got notes that I feel like I could share with other moms too. But that's what moms do when we get together. We start sharing, we start talking it out, we start like helping each other get forward, and we start creating solutions. So, and we operate as a village, which I think is the ultimate mom bomb. So I want to introduce to you today two beautiful, beautiful moms, Neferteri Plessi, CEO of Elevated Strategist, and Cole Patterson, CEO of Cole Skincare for Men, who are the founders of Single Moms Planet. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me have you. How about that? How about I'm grateful? How about I'm the one getting the privilege here today? How about that? I am over the moon excited because okay, first of all, I just want to do a little mom conversation. Y'all, it's trended, right? We've been in full throttle about being a yam. Right? Yes, I'm a mom and I'm proud of it and I can wear what I want. I can do what I want. You can't police me. You can't control. You can't govern over me, right?
Exactly.
That's been the conversation. And that's actually been the movement the whole time. I'm just glad that moms are finally saying it out loud. Like, y'all thought you were controlling how we do this?
How we roll. You're not.
You're not.
Right.
You're not doing that. So I want to shout out every single mom who is like fully taking voice and taking lead in her life and how she moves and what she wears and how she does her thing. Because it's not easy.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. But I know it's especially not easy when you're a single mom. And I love what you created, which as I listen to you both speak in our BTS of the podcast about how you started and what you're passionate about, I love the idea that Single Moms Planet creates a space for women to learn how to build financial literacy, to grow economic development, and help create a new trajectory for their families. Mm-hmm. That's Absolutely. Like the ultimate goal for every single mom out there. And I know that it can be complex for single moms as well as for married moms, but I know specifically the weight is a bit heavier when you're a single mom.
Absolutely.
So I want to get to the behind the music, the story of
I like that.
How did these two beauties come together, bring all the thought leadership together and say the world needs Single Moms Planet?
Oh, you can. I was going to say the entertainment business brought us together.
Okay.
Yeah, the entertainment
the fashion
business.
industry.
Yeah, the entertainment business definitely brought us together, along with having a discussion. I'll go back at a brunch, and we were trying to figure out, being in the entertainment business, we both, it requires a lot of hours in a day to be on set. And I was busy, she was busy, and we just realized outside of ourselves, we didn't have support. And we didn't have the resources to figure out where to go with that. And just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And Neferteri was like, community. Community. And I was like, who's in a community? Because I don't have a community. I don't have a community. So we just literally, it sparked that whole passion for just really offering space for single mothers. And because we were both business mindset, moving very progressively, why not?
So community was it. Just wanting to create a community where women could commune.
Right. So
okay.
I would definitely say, we were both raised by single mothers. And one of the things that I noticed, at least for myself, being raised by a single mother, there's a big plight of isolation, right? So the mother's usually working, she's taking care of her children or her child. I was an only child. And she comes home, goes to sleep, does it again, right? My mom had a little bit of a different lifestyle. She was definitely into her health and fitness. She'd be at the gym at 5 a.m, yoga. She taught aerobics. She liked to swim. We would go hiking in San Francisco. So she was a very active woman. We traveled. And what I noticed is what I was seeing in the media for single mothers, or even the term single mothers, it didn't look like what I experienced with my mother. And then even with the other women that I knew that were single mothers, or that were co-parenting, or, you know, single mothers by choice or adopting, they didn't have these down and out stories that you would see in the movies.
Right.
You know, a lot of them were bawling. You know, I was like, wait a minute, you have a what? And you have this and that. I'm like, why isn't this being communicated? Why is it always, you know, barely making it, you know, and always this negative connotation around what a single mother is or what she feels like? And I really was like, that needs to be shifted, you know, when we were sitting down having that conversation. And it was definitely about building a community of women that were progressive, that were about handling their business, that were about their education, that were about taking care of their children, and not only just taking care of them, but elevating them. Right. Giving them access to activities and programs and, you know, scholarship opportunities, college, you know, not just, you know, when you're 18, now get out of my house.
Right.
I think that's like a big connotation of like communication of how single mothers handle things. And it just wasn't the reality that I was seeing. And we wanted to shift the narrative of that.
Yeah, that was definitely strong because the narrative for single mothers, it's the data is inaccurate. You know, what we thought that was back then is no longer. Women are a lot, even when you look at the percentage of what single mothers are, it's divorcees or baby mamas or so forth, but that's not it. There's widows, there's women that are choosing to make the choice in vitro. There's so many different elements, and people are just wanting to have children and decide to be a single mother. So there's a lot of information out there that just puts a stain on single motherhood, and we wanted to kind of shift that narrative. We were definitely intentional about shifting that narrative.
That's so interesting you bring that up, because I know in my head, my prior knowledge was that you went through something, somebody did you wrong, down dirty, and you found yourself single as a mom, right? That was probably an old 80s narrative that kind of that people are still kind of sticking to. And now that I'm a woman of a younger certain age, put it like that.
I like it.
A younger certain age. But now I'm hearing stories of women, of friends who have made the choice that they want to be a mother, and that they are claiming the power of that narrative to just say, if it's that I have to do it alone, or that I'm willing to do it alone, I'm capable. I have the means, I have the power, I have the ability to create a lifestyle for a child and to give the love that I want this child to have, and they're going after it. So there is this other space that very rarely gets spoken of, honestly.
Absolutely.
And you know it more than I do. And I'm sure there's data that says we've got percentages of women that sit in certain categories, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think another narrative that we want to dislodge when it comes to single motherhood is that I feel like a lot of times when there is let's say there's an uncoupling.
Yeah.
The couples that are their circles, they stop communicating with the single mother. And I think sometimes they think somebody wants their man. And don't nobody want your man. Don't nobody want your husband. Don't nobody want him.
Yes.
You can keep him, please. They're not interested. And that's not the scenario. Now, if you have some single friends or you have someone you want to bring around, that's absolutely welcome.
Yeah.
But don't go into this consideration that there's some trauma and now your man is they want to hunt your man down or something like that. It's like, stop, don't not be friends with that woman.
Right.
Don't cut her off from the inner circle.
Yeah. And that's pretty much judgment too. It's like we have this, and that's that past way of thinking mindset that she becomes.
That's the 70s.
That she becomes this person because
all of a sudden she's a predator to marriages. You're like, wait a minute, she's still the homegirl, she's still the friend, she's still the person you trust before.
She needs your support.
Yes.
If you have a couple, if you're married and you have a couple, and I'm like, my ex is out of town working and I'm single because we're no longer together.
Yeah.
I need that support. Lend that support and ask, well, how can I support you versus making a lot of assumptions? So I feel like it's a status quo thing, and people feel that are married, they feel like they have one up and there's nothing in common. But one thing you have in common is you're a woman.
Right. Right.
You know, sometimes people, you hear that narrative of single moms being inferior in some way, right? Just because there is an absence of a male figure, or a figure, I should say, in the household. And I love, one of the things that I'm hearing consistently as both of you speak is this reclamation of power and reclamation of the narrative, and also reclamation of the ownership that a woman can do it. Maybe she doesn't prefer it, or maybe she does prefer it. It's a choice thing now. It's no longer a victimship.
Well, then there's also the narrative of not every woman that labels herself or identifies as a single mother doesn't mean the father's absent.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Every man that I know in my life that is a divorcee or that has had children with a woman, they take care of their kids.
Yeah.
Those are their children. Yeah. Right. So I think that, again, those are some of the past conversations that we've had, especially sometimes in the Black community, that fathers are not there, men are not there. Right. And that narrative needs to stop.
Yeah.
And even though we support single mothers, we're a nonprofit organization, we have men in our organization. We have married couples in our organization that volunteer with our organization. They donate to our organization. And so that whole concept of men, especially in the Black community, and period, there are more white women that are single mothers than there are Black women by far.
Wow.
They outweigh any other race in the status quo of who is a single mother.
Yeah.
It's white America.
And you don't hear that
you don't hear that at
Yeah.
all. Because they want to say that that's a Black issue or a Black community issue.
Yeah.
But they're not giving the fathers credit for how they are showing up for their children. Or they call it watching their children. No, they have their children.
Yeah. Right. Like,
What
it's not a babysitter.
Somebody.
But yeah.
Yeah, those are their kids day and night, 24/7. And the way that a father parents, it's not how a mother parents. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to show up the same way.
Absolutely.
That's why you need to let that man have his kids.
Right.
You know what?
So then let's talk about this, because come on. I love that. She said he's at the door. Okay. I left him at the door. Don't even call about it. I already set him up. But okay. So because we start thinking about some of the, so say some of the women that are entering your group, Single Moms Planet, they're entering and they're at the beginning of their single momship, whatever that may be, wherever they start.
Whatever it looks like. Right.
What are some of the things that you teach first things first?
We lean really heavy on co-parenting.
Okay.
And allowing that space. And I know a lot of sometimes, there's stories. You have two people of different sexes that have difference in opinion, thoughts, process, and so forth. Yeah. So I always like to look at Neferteri, and I always speak on when you're really considering a child, you're really, really taking all your emotions out of it from a perspective of what's best for the child. You take away that power to control the way that man fathers his children, and allow that space. Just like Neferteri mentioned, they do it differently, but that balance is still needed there. That's crazy that you said that. I just had a conversation with a young lady that's pretty much a single mother, but she lives with her guy, and they're going through, some indifferences. And I just told her how important, she has a daughter, important it was and is to do three things. And one was to communicate with the child, to be very transparent of where you are in a space of love, but allow that father to be there for his child as a Black girl child. It's one of those things where you definitely want to embrace that. And I know sometimes it's difficult, and I think we have a couple of more that we talk, but the co-parenting, we lean very heavily on that.
Okay.
And because there are dads.
If it's possible.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes, we have women that are widows in our organization. There's no father there, or they may have chosen to be a single mom through in vitro, right? Single mother by choice, or adoption, right? And so it is a difficult thing, but definitely making sure that you don't overstimulate your child with things. I think that beyond
preach.
even the single mother scope or the
Yes.
single parent scope, I think parents in general,
Yes.
they feel as though the child constantly needs to be entertained.
Yep.
And that boredom is the devil in most people's homes. They feel as though their child constantly needs stimulation, and that can lead to other issues down the road when it comes to the child. Right. So I do believe in, we were talking about before we got online, is just, white space, not only for yourself, but how do you make sure that your child understands white space for themselves? How do they self-contain? How do they self-soothe? How do they self-entertain? And then also building strong friendships for them.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mother and I was an only child. So that was definitely a safe haven for me, was being able to be around friends and having those friendship circles that my mom was able to find some trust in.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's key. And if you're completely raising your child by themselves, like there's no father figure there, find other strong male influences, uncles. Both of us had very dominant uncles in our lives, and they help shape the women that we are. I think that's highly important. If you don't have that, then go to another, maybe a Boys and Girls Club or some type of mentorship program. Of course, monitor these things.
Right.
Check them out first.
Check them out first. But don't, have, if it's a grandfather, some type of male influence, because we do need those counterparts. We need both of those conversations, and both of those energies need to be on the table.
I'm all about solving problems at dinner time and enjoying a great meal, but I am here to tell you that dinner time in my household used to be a whole situation. It was so hard to find something fresh and unique and amazing for all four of us to really enjoy. Oh, not to mention I wanted something really quick. Quick and healthy don't normally go hand in hand. But with my new bestie, HelloFresh, all of my problems have been solved, because HelloFresh keeps my taste buds and my family's taste buds on their toes with their 40 chef-crafted recipes to select from every single week. And when I tell you these recipes are so amazing, great girlfriends, I never get any complaints or special requests. How about that? So my picky eaters are not so picky anymore. All of a sudden, they are super happy because we've got family-friendly meals and we've got the fit and wholesome meals. So we've got really exciting, fresh recipes that taste amazing and satisfy everyone. And not to mention, it's back to school time in my household. So we've got football practice, we've got volleyball, we've got school planning, we've got work, we got to take the dog out, and we're trying to travel just a little bit more before summer ends. So, quite frankly, meal prepping and planning can be chaos. But hello, happy Sybil, enter HelloFresh, because all of my summer blues are over. Here's what they do. They pre-portion ingredients, right? They send you a beautifully crafted, very well-designed menu card. It gives you every ingredient broken down to the portion, tells you how much water to put in the pot to boil your rice. So you're never alone. And everything comes right to the door. So whipping up a homemade meal is super simple. So it's really eliminating my excuses, and it's keeping me out of the drive-through line. Hello, happy, hello, healthy, hello, Sybil, hello, fresh. So listen, I've been eating these meals back to back for as long as this summer can go. And I'm super happy about the taste, and I'm happy about the outcome. This dinner we had tonight was the beef flautas supreme. And I feel like a whole Mexican chef in my household. And my husband was in the kitchen with me. Everyone's happy, and the food is delicious. So tomorrow night we're doing the honey butter pork chops, and it's got like this really great sweet potato with butter and asparagus. And there's so many different menus and meals to choose from. And I want you to jump in. I want you to make your life simple, and I want you to feel happy like I'm feeling happy. And if you have picky eaters, guess what? You will silence the picky eater when you choose HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/50girlfriends and use code 50girlfriends for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50girlfriends and use code 50girlfriends for 50% off plus free shipping. Listen, this is America's #1 meal kit, so you can't go wrong. So why not choose HelloFresh today? Enjoy and tell me all about it once you get your recipes, because sharing is caring. Love you. I think that it offers a bit of balance that you can't quite explain, but you know that it levels some things out mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You know, it really is a great sounding space, I think, for us to have that. And a lot of times I have heard so many narratives of women saying, my child doesn't need a man, or I don't need a man, so my child doesn't need a man.
Right.
And so, and I feel like it's really punishing the child to withdraw any male influence from their life. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, if it's possible to co-parent, and if it's not possible to co-parent, allow your children to have access to other males who have that, can be a guiding force in some way or offer that balance.
Exactly.
Like your strong uncles are and have been for you. You know what I mean? So then I hear it, and I'm really glad to hear it. And the language that you're using is so beautiful. I'm just enjoying all of this. So I want to dive into the community aspect of it, because listen, I lean on my village. I lean, when I say lean, like I'm like, I just pray they stick around. I hope I'm not leaning too hard. Let me send them some flowers, because I know I go heavy, but but village is everything when you're parenting. And when you just want to, like you said, have that white space or create spaces for you to be a parent who is a woman. I just want to kick back. I don't want to be mama right now. I want to kick back. What do you teach women about village? What are you teaching about community? Or what have you learned in your own experience that a listener can take away today and start plugging in?
That's your scope.
I knew she was going to say that.
She said that was your word.
I got quiet and I was like this.
I had something to say beforehand, but that's your scope.
Okay. Village. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm big on sisterhood. I'm big on village. I would definitely say sometimes when you're creating a village, right, you need to be intentional.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times we allow people in our space that aren't supposed to be there just because it's empty.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right. So you have to be cautious as you create the village, because sometimes people have intentions. Sometimes their ideals are not in alignment with you. I'm not talking about healthy banter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cole and I have some things we agree on and some things we don't, which makes us powerful. Right? If y'all have known each other for 20 years and you haven't created nothing, it's time to take a break. That's my thought.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if this is someone you're speaking with on a daily basis, they're on your text messages, but they have nothing really for you, and you really have nothing for them.
Yeah.
Right. I would say reassess that. Right. And gate yourself off, even as you create the community, create the village. Just because your child has friends doesn't mean you have to be friends with their parents.
Oh, girl.
Right. You don't have to allow forced connection.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to hang out.
Yep.
You and the kids, y'all hang out. I'll be back at 5 or whatever that agreement is. Right. So don't let yourself be guilted into relationships that aren't really supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That would be a big thing that I would definitely look at. And reassess your relationships. Check them out every 3 months. Is this serving me? Am I serving this person? Is this just one-sided from my end or from theirs? Am I filling their cup and are they filling mine? Yeah. Right? And I definitely would say be cautious about how much you share.
Don't overshare.
Don't overshare.
Come on, Cole.
Number one.
I'm the hype man. Don't overshare.
I talk to a lot of women who are considering divorce. We are anti-divorce at Single Moms Planet. Of course, if it's like abuse, something like that, totally different. We're talking about the normal scope of just male-female dynamics right now, right? Just because it's traumatic now doesn't mean that they won't be at the Christmas table come December.
Yes.
And they're sitting across from your best friend, your mama, your brother, and they all want to stab him. It's going to be a problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So keep some of that to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's business.
Yep.
And I have friends that I won't name their names, but they're like, they call me 6 months later, a year later. We got back together. Thank you for telling me to shut up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, go get a therapist. You can call me. I'll take it to the grave. Don't tell this to your cousin. Don't tell this to your mama, your best friend, because they're not going to get over it.
Yep.
Right? And your child doesn't need to hear anything through the grapevine. You got to keep, that's their nucleus.
Yeah.
Even if you split up and are divorced and don't get back together, keep some of that to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's going to protect your nucleus, which is your family. He's still, in my opinion, head of household.
Yeah.
That's how I handle my ex-husband's and our relationship. He's still the father. He's still the man. Those are his children.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I have to respect that. Right? And so when you lay down the foundation like that, because like Cole said earlier, we're thinking about the children. What's best for the children?
Yeah.
Or is it your ego at play, or is it the children? So those are the tips that I would give when you're talking about community and building community and just even checking yourself on community.
Yeah.
I told you she had it.
She was like, that's all you, girl.
That's all you.
You are community. But Cole, there are some things that you've learned as well that you have picked up or that you are utilizing. Even as I see, as you communicate, you said don't overshare. That discretion and having that at the forefront, I can feel that coming from you. There's a whole bunch of wisdom and discretion that you use.
She's had some fatal attraction.
Uh-oh. So
I'm like, which one?
Oh my gosh. Because I can feel the discretion. She's like, I'm super discreet and I'm super selective.
I'm totally transparent. Like if you, I'm the type of person, I'm very guarded. And there's a reason, because I'm very observant, you know? And once I have the energy that I want to share, you get what you get. You know what I mean? However, that can lead into personal examples of things that comes into oversharing, you know, and when you have that trust, just like Neferteri said, if you have not built something where you guys can grow and elevate each other, and it's been a 20-year friendship and you've been in question about that friendship in that village, there's something to reassess.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely a situation where that is. Or when you became a single mother or co-parenting, how active were they in helping you assist through this? Versus sitting on the phone trying to gather information about your ex or your business, or seeing you at the downfall of emotion and confusion when you have, you know, I've been a single mom. Well, I won't call myself a single mom this time. However, I am single and I am a mother, you know, in that aspect. But I was a teenage mom, you know, and I was very much a single mother, and I was raised by a single mom, you know. But I also had male influences from my dad, my uncle, and my stepdad, very solid balance. So there are a lot of things that I've learned, and just to be a little bit more, I'm real quick to cut people off, especially if they feel like they got too much drama and emotional confusion.
Yeah, I relate to that.
And they just look, you know, they're like a damsel in distress, and you could tell that they never had a male figure in there, so they're looking to pour and dump a bunch of stuff on and wanting you to, like, oh my God, are you here? That ain't me.
Right. Don't
That
be the
ain't
garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Be the garbage can. Dump them out.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's
So
a lot of
good.
things. And community is very important, especially when you're, and more than ever now, with us going through 2 years of, you know, isolation and confusion of who should we talk to, who we shouldn't talk to, can we go over their house, and so forth. So the community is very strong, and people need to lean on each other, because that's what the human race does as a humanity. You know, that's how we evolve, that's how we feed off, but also be able to cut that energy off when it doesn't serve you at a higher level.
Yeah.
You know.
So you said something earlier. You talked about being observant, and I think that is so important as a mom. Period, is to have a have a keen eye that is able to kind of read things before you even have to speak or communicate. But pay attention to people and how they operate and how they move, and then be able to utilize that wisdom however you need to in community. Because, like you said, you can find yourself in an overshare, and then you're like, oh crap.
And pay attention to
Right.
their kids' behavior.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, God.
I'm reading this book, and it talks a lot about emotional trauma.
Okay.
And there's certain levels of the brain that definitely, there's a reptilial brain and there's a cortex.
Mm-hmm.
So when the child is from 1 to 6, or even in the womb, there's a lot of learned behavior that they get from DNA from the mother.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come into the environment of, and people can have, everybody wants to be the perfect mother, you know, but you watch that child and you'll see how perfect that motherhood or that rearing is. You know what I mean? So pay attention to that, because sometimes that'll lead you into knowing more about the mother and creating that village than your eyes can see. So that's the type of observation that I do.
We're coming out of, like you said, 2 years of isolation. And in that isolation, we found a rise or increase in single moms in our country, right? We also found ourselves in the middle of a mental health crisis. And so there are a lot of women who are entering this world of being a single mom, also trying to figure out the mental balance of it all, right? Also trying to manage whatever the needs are of their children. And trying to hold down a career and trying to be fine at the same time, because that's a requirement. Why not, right? So what's one piece of advice that you would offer a mom who's listening, who's at the beginning of her journey and looking to figure it out? Like, this is new and you know, and you're putting all the pieces together and wanting to get it right. What would you tell her?
Self-care.
Self-care.
I always refer back to the airplane. You don't put your mask on. First, put your mask on.
Yeah.
And then you're able to save more lives.
Yeah.
You look after the child and you are unhealthy in your thoughts, in your being. You deliver. Kids feel that energy.
Yeah.
You know, so self-care is whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
If it's time to really get your mindset, read a book, read inspiring things. Don't scroll through social media. That's when you know what I mean?
Dislocate that whole thing.
Hello.
Yeah. So just really start reading positive affirmations.
Yeah.
Go back to who you are as a person, as a woman, and how you can offer the title as a mother to the best of your ability for the child. So really just feeding yourself, and speaking of child, feeding yourself with so many different things that lift you up.
Yeah.
Don't read or watch anything that's going to get you down and out. You know, find a community like Single Mothers Plan, because we get some people's ass.
Yes.
This is true.
When it comes to that very low vibration frequency mindset.
Yes.
You know, so it's one of those things where, all right, now what? You know what I mean? Like, you're making excuses and trying to, you know, it's hard. It's difficult because everybody's circumstances are different, you know?
Right.
But mindset is definitely one to lean more into.
Self-care. Same for you?
I would definitely say invest in yourself.
Okay.
Right. So when I look at self-care, as I've matured in what does self-care, I think you need to define what is self-care for you. Some things are maintenance, right? So somebody might say, oh, girl, go to the spa, go get your nails done, go get your hair done. No, you just trying to look cute.
Yeah.
That's maintenance.
Right.
So self-care, what is that for you?
Yeah. Nourishment.
Right? Like, how are you really pouring in?
Yeah.
Right? It could be time alone. It could be time with a family member. You know, it could actually be educating yourself, you know, paying for a class, learning a new skill set, right? Like, you have the ability, if you're entering into single motherhood, you have the ability to literally say, I am about to be a new person. You have no one to influence who you are, to tell you anything. it is almost like the first day of high school, right? Look at it as like a new beginning, a rebirthing of yourself, and really own it. And you don't have to tell anybody a damn thing about it. Oversharing again, right? We're bringing that back up because sometimes you tell someone something and they just are not on that level that you're on at that moment. And they could deter you from where you were headed, right? If you want to reinvent yourself, you could change your name, do whatever you want to do.
That's right.
You're grown, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you except for thoughts of the past and potentially vultures that are around you. So you have to be really cautious about whatever you say you want to create. Go do that.
Yeah.
Right? And don't let anybody stop you. And most of all, really get in alignment with sharing your value and goals with your children. When they know where you're headed, because see, they're closer to the energy than we are.
Yeah.
They haven't been through what a lot of us have been through as adults. So when they are going to hold you accountable for what you say, hey, Mom, I thought you said you were going to get 3 clients this month. How many do you have?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get that 5-bedroom house with a yard. You said that 6 months ago. How close are we? Do we have enough money saved? Right? Like they're going to hold you accountable for the dream, especially when you add them to it.
Right.
It's a family legacy plan.
Yeah.
It's a family dream plan. Even working out, get your kids involved.
Yeah.
Everything you do doesn't necessarily have to be for your children, but it is for the legacy of your bloodline.
Yeah.
Right? So think in that manner.
Legacy of your bloodline. I love that so much. I love that so much because we're so busy in the now that we forget that 5, 10, 20, 30 years later, we're going to look up. And what is it that we want to see? That happens in the now, right? It's what we're investing right now.
Let me tell you, my mom and I walked yesterday.
Yeah.
My mom and I took a walk yesterday. We were talking about planning for her great-grandchildren so that my son's children, they don't have to pay for a down payment on their home. And they don't have to pay for their children to go to any of their schooling. That my mom and I are able to take care of that. Sometimes, especially in the Black community, we get so caught up in what we didn't do for our children now, that we miss the generation that's going to need us even more.
That's right.
Because they came to us right now for a reason. But what are we going to do for the next generation to come? Sometimes we, not to skip y'all's asses, but I might need 15 years to really get this thing moving.
Right.
And so don't get so caught up in what you didn't do. Get caught up in what are we about to do collectively as a family. What's that conversation like? Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
She preaching, girl.
Single mom. Y'all have given us so much today.
Thank you for
so
having
much
us.
value, so much depth, so much intention. And I really love the work that you're doing. I love that you're doing it together. I love that you found the ability to create something that you both love and want to leave as a legacy, leaving the legacy line for the bloodline of your children, because our children watch and they participate in everything. Y'all know Dylan, she's sitting in the studio right now and she's over there probably listening or not, but it's all about everything that we do builds on that. And so I want to thank you for sharing Single Moms Planet with us. Thank you for sharing your individual perspectives, because it's so valuable for a woman to see herself, to mirror herself in some form by looking at another woman's, life and hearing their story and knowing that it's available to them. So thank you so much for that. I know that there are going to be women who want to know more about Single Moms Planet, who also want to get involved and, maybe support, come to the next event. Because come to, be a part of the experience and also take advantage of the tools, because I know you have tools available for women who are in progress in financial literacy, education, et cetera. So where can they keep up? Where can they follow you on Instagram or Threads? Where we at?
Singlemomsplanet.org.
Okay.
And also Instagram, all social platform is Single Moms Planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all got that domain early. That is one time for having that Single Moms Planet domain. That's a good one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. And also on our website, we have all of our events, all of our programming. We have an event coming up in September when we come back for the fall, which
Okay.
is all about entrepreneurs for women to be able to showcase their businesses and their brands.
Nice.
And just be able to collectively do that. You can apply to be a vendor,
Okay.
and you can also RSVP to attend as a guest
Nice.
on our website. So,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Great girlfriends, make sure you follow. Make sure you're checking in and keeping up with my guest today. Thank you so much, Cole Neferteri. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Do leave us an iTunes review if you've loved this episode. If you want to hear more from Single Moms Planet, you want to have them back. They're LA based. We can have them back. Or if you just have questions about single momhood that I can pass on to them, just make sure you send us an email. welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. Thank you for listening this week. Have a great, great Wednesday. Peace.
Hey, great girlfriends, it's me, Dylan. Welcome to the Motivational Minute. Today's quote is by Rosalind Carter. It is, "You have to have confidence in your ability and then be tough enough to follow through." I think this quote means that you have to be confident in your risks and make sure that they're made in the right time and make sure that you're making the right decision. And then you have to be tough enough to take the risk, and you have to be tough enough to make sure that it's the right decision. This has been my Motivational Minute. Bye.
All right, great girlfriends. Did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends. Follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_greatGFS. I'm Sybil Amuti and I'm out. Peace.
Yay Networks.